So day two of the week-long advanced retreat. So yeah, it wasn't an easy day by any measure. Actually, it was quite hard. We started at 6 o'clock and meditated for 2 hours right after bed. Um, One thing I would say though, there's definitely some power in the room. I could sense it, not right away, but then as soon as we started meditating, I could sense something very very different. So first of all, the 2 hours, the first meditation did not feel like 2 hours at all. I think subjectively it felt a bit more like 45 minutes. So I took it to mean that I was very absorbed. I was very, very, I was engrossed very, very quickly. I went into deep state very, very quickly. And that was unusual, I guess, especially considering that it is just the first meditation. So I can't even put it on, having some built up of momentum or inference from the progress from the week. I went into very deep. We were blessing energy centers, so we were just focusing and paying attention, bringing awareness to each of the chakras through the sensory channels, and bringing about harmony on the different levels. Usually, quite a hard thing to do when I was at home, but I had a very palpable effect from it. First, I I was able to tune into the energy center and bring about the sort of the highest good and my blessing into it much more quickly than usual. I went into the very deep state, and that's interesting actually. I went into such deep, I guess I would say a theta brainwave state, a very kind of altered state. It didn't last or endured. I think it came and went for a few times, and each time lasting for just a minute or two. But in those few minutes, I was definitely elevated in a different state. Instead of being able to just monitor my thoughts with one focus at a time, I gained something like a little bit like a bird's eye view. Very interesting. I was focusing on 3, 4 things at a time. I was definitely not experiencing myself in the usual lens of my own personality and my own awareness. I was a little bit bigger. I was a little bit bigger, and yeah, and unless you're very experienced meditator, this kind of state don't usually come this quickly. So I was surprised and very very pumped and encouraged by that. And after the meditation, I was so energetic. I've got to say, even though I only had 4 or 5 hours sleep last night and the night before, I felt as though I didn't need to sleep for the whole day actually. And we worked for 14 hours today, and this is like 10 o'clock now, and I'm like wide awake actually. Jet lag maybe, but unlikely to put it down to just that. But because it's rather unusual. Second meditation was tough, really really tough, because I think the beginner's mind, probably helped with the first meditation too. But as soon as we came to the second, and Dr. Joe asked us to start working on identifying with the empty, the nothingness of our true nature, rather than the perceived material nature that we usually sense and interact with. We were asked to go deeper into the quantum, into the energetic nature of our being, rather than the material, the matter nature of our being, which theoretically, of course, it makes sense. This is where you need to be creating new possibility. But it's tough. As soon as I started tuning into emptiness, I think the part of my ego who really did not like to be wiped out, to be extinguished, was amplifying as hard as he could. all the counter forces. So I become very hung up on lots of stuff, actually, right? Like even the thought about this vlog that I was going to do tonight. I was thinking, oh God, is this a good experience, a bad experience? Do I have anything to say? Suddenly become an encumbrance, sorry, a bit of a burden. And then I was getting pissed off at myself for not keeping my diet and all that kind of stuff. I was just replaying conversation earlier with other people in a way that I don't usually do, and I got really frustrated. And one obstacle after another, I was trying to offer it up to the universe, to the divine, and saying I'm just observing them. I'm not really going into them, and I'm taking back some of those energy, a lot of those energy that usually these thoughts would siphon off my uh, my psyche and keeping me from being able to create effectively. And I've got to say, I fought the uphill battle. It was hard, but I did it. But at the end of the meditation, I was crying. It was difficult because I felt like even though I empty myself out and I was doing it very diligently, somehow for whatever reason, the divine, the high